Hello, brothers, and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. The quieter he becomes, the louder his absence roars. There's something unnerving about a man who can vanish from a room without ever moving an inch. You message him, nothing. You talk to him, he nods, but his mind's already galaxies away. And before you realize it, he's gone. Not physically, but psychologically erased from your emotional radar. Studies have shown that social withdrawal often triggers anxiety in others. Yet for Sigma males, it's a source of power. They've turned silence into a language and detachment into an art form. It's not that they hate people, they just see through the illusion of constant connection. While most are out there shouting to be seen, the Sigma quietly rewrites the script by doing the opposite. He disappears and somehow becomes more magnetic. And the funny thing, people take it personally, as if ignoring them is a global crime. But to a Sigma, ignoring is not rudeness, it's strategy. It's emotional fasting in a world addicted to attention. So today, we're peeling back the mask and exposing 12 brutal reasons why Sigma males ignore people. Not out of arrogance, but out of evolution. Because sometimes the most intimidating presence is the one that doesn't need to be present at all. Number one, they've learned that explaining themselves is a trap. For a Sigma male, silence is never accidental. It's a carefully calculated choice, and once it's in place, the act of explaining that silence can feel like stepping into a trap. Every time you justify your absence, your inaction, or your detachment, you give someone else power over your internal world. You hand them a map to your mind, a key to your motives, and suddenly, what was once an untouchable fortress becomes negotiable territory. Sigma males understand this instinctively. They've seen how people exploit explanations, twisting words, dissecting pauses, and creating narratives that serve their own ego, not the truth. Explaining oneself implies vulnerability. It implies that the other person has the right to demand clarity, to interrogate emotional boundaries, or to measure worth based on compliance. Sigma males have lived long enough to know that vulnerability isn't always a virtue. It's often a leash. They've watched people weaponize explanations, turning honesty into ammunition and accountability into a chain. Every unnecessary word, every defensive sentence becomes a tool for others to manipulate perception and influence behavior. The more you explain, the more control you relinquish. Ignoring, in contrast, is a silent assertion of autonomy. It says without saying, "I will not negotiate my presence, my attention, or my priorities for your comfort or curiosity." There's a subtle brilliance in this approach. By refusing to explain, Sigma males preserve the integrity of their internal world. They create a psychological buffer that keeps emotional predators at a distance while allowing them the freedom to engage selectively, deliberately, and on their own terms. This isn't coldness, it's mastery. The ability to remain unreadable, to keep motives concealed, is a skill honed over years of observation, calculation, and trial by social fire. Explaining oneself is giving the map away. Staying silent is keeping the terrain uncharted, a place where the Sigma male rules quietly but completely, and nobody else ever truly sets foot. It's not arrogance, it's strategy, and it ensures that attention, energy, and respect flow only where he chooses. Number two, they're addicted to mental cleanliness. For Sigma males, the mind is sacred territory, and they treat it with the same rigor a surgeon treats an operating room. Cluttered thoughts, chaotic emotions, and toxic people are more than annoyances. They're pollutants that disrupt mental clarity and strategic thinking. They've learned that just as a messy room makes it harder to focus, messy minds around them drain energy, scatter attention, and warp perception. Interacting with people who carry unnecessary drama, need constant validation, or thrive on negativity isn't just tiring. it's corrosive. Ignoring isn't avoidance. It's a form of mental housekeeping. By stepping back from individuals who spread emotional noise, Sigma males are effectively sweeping the psychological floor of their inner world. Every message unanswered, every conversation declined, is like taking out the trash that threatens to rot their focus or cloud their judgment. They don't need confrontation, arguments, or explanations, because they recognize that cleaning up their environment quietly is far more effective than trying to change others. This obsession with mental cleanliness goes deeper than surface-level calm. It's about creating a space where thoughts are sharp, decisions are uncompromised, and energy flows only toward what actually matters. To a Sigma male, allowing cluttered energy to linger is like leaving a splinter in your brain. Eventually it festers and infects productivity, creativity, and emotional balance. They've developed a near addictive sensitivity to this state of clarity. When surrounded by chaotic people, they feel it immediately, a heaviness, a friction, a subtle sense of suffocation. Ignoring becomes the ultimate tool, a way to preserve purity without unnecessary confrontation, without drama, and without giving anyone the satisfaction of knowing their presence was disruptive. For Sigma males, mental cleanliness is power, and ignoring those who threaten it is not rude or detached. It's survival, refinement, and mastery of the mind. In a world full of noise, they've learned that sometimes the most profound control comes from what you don't engage with. Number 3, they know some people deserve to starve for attention. Sigma males have a keen instinct for spotting people who survive on reactions. The ones who feed off drama, soak up validation, or manipulate emotions for their own amusement. Narcissists, attention seekers, and emotional leeches are easy to identify because their energy is loud, predictable, and exhausting. Most people try to manage them, negotiate with them, or explain themselves endlessly, but a Sigma male sees a simpler, far more effective strategy: withdrawal. To a Sigma, ignoring someone isn't passive, it's tactical. It's a calculated decision to cut off the supply line, to starve the ego of those who thrive on feeding it. When attention is withheld, the world shrinks for these people. They lose control, their influence evaporates, and their carefully constructed personas begin to crumble. The Sigma male understands that engagement often equals encouragement, and disengagement can be far more devastating than confrontation. This approach is subtle, yet brutal. There's no argument, no dramatic fallout, no shouting match, just a quiet, deliberate absence that exposes dependency. The narcissist flails, the drama addict sputters, and the emotional leech finds their usual manipulations ineffective. Starving them of attention forces them to confront a reality they rarely face. The world doesn't revolve around their cravings, and not everyone is obligated to validate their existence. For Sigma males, this isn't cruelty, it's clarity. They don't waste energy on people who drain it or feed illusions that serve no purpose. They maintain distance, not out of dislike, but out of necessity, preserving their mental space while subtly teaching a harsh lesson about reliance and relevance. In a world addicted to reaction and validation, a Sigma male wields silence like a scalpel, excising toxicity without a single word. And in that silence, the most demanding attention seekers discover something they've never truly known. Being ignored can be more powerful than being confronted. Number 4, their detachment is evolutionary, not emotional. For Sigma males, detachment isn't a reaction, it's a natural progression. It's not born from dislike, disdain, or bitterness. It's a product of evolution. Over time, they've learned to navigate the social landscape with precision, discarding what's unnecessary and focusing only on what matters. While most people are trapped in loops of approval, conformity, and emotional dependence, Sigma males rise above these instincts. They no longer measure themselves by who likes them, who notices them, or who needs them. Ignoring people isn't an act of coldness. It's a declaration of independence. It signals that they've transcended the basic human survival mechanisms that dominate social behavior. Most social interactions are designed to secure safety, status, or acceptance. Sigma males have moved past these primitive necessities. Their detachment reflects a higher order of operation. They engage selectively, respond intentionally, and conserve energy for pursuits that genuinely matter. This evolutionary detachment allows them to see clearly where their attention is valuable and where it is wasted. People who demand constant validation, thrive on drama, or manipulate emotions are no longer anchors. They are distractions. By ignoring them, Sigma males maintain the integrity of their personal ecosystem. Every interaction they avoid is a reinforcement of boundaries, a protection of focus, and a refinement of their life's trajectory. In essence, their detachment is a form of ascension. It's not rebellion, not apathy, and not spite. It's an elevated state of being where engagement is earned, not expected, and where silence carries more weight than words. To a Sigma male, ignoring is not absence, it is mastery. A conscious step beyond the mundane social treadmill into a realm where control, clarity, and purpose dictate every choice. Their detachment is less a shield and more a throne, and those who remain in its orbit quickly realize that presence is no longer about proximity. It's about resonance, or the lack of it. Number 5, emotional entropy bores. Them Sigma males have a unique sensitivity to emotional energy, and they can spot chaos from a mile away. Not the occasional upset or disagreement, but the repetitive, self-created storms that certain people seem to generate endlessly. They notice the patterns, the predictable loops of overreactions, manipulations, and dramatics. Every outburst, apology, and rebound becomes part of a sequence that can be decoded, like reading the code behind a repetitive program. Once they've cracked the algorithm of someone's emotional behavior, the mystery disappears. There's no thrill in engagement, no mental challenge, and no curiosity left to hold their attention. To a Sigma male, unpredictability is stimulating. Predictability, especially in the realm of emotional chaos, is dulling. They thrive on depth, subtlety, and complexity, not the same recycled emotional theatrics over and over. Ignoring becomes the natural response. It's not rudeness or detachment for its own sake, but a consequence of their mental economy. Engaging with predictable chaos consumes energy without reward. The Sigma doesn't waste attention on someone whose behavior has become entirely legible. By withdrawing, they maintain their psychological equilibrium and preserve their focus for interactions that actually matter, those that challenge, intrigue, or inspire them. There's also a subtle psychological effect on the other person. The more predictable and chaotic they are, the more disoriented they become when the Sigma simply vanishes. It exposes the emptiness of their loops and forces them to confront the fact that their drama holds no power over someone who refuses to participate. In the end, emotional entropy is boring because it is transparent. Sigma males have an instinct for clarity and purpose, and once they see through the noise, they disappear from the scene. It's not anger, punishment, or disdain. It's simply an unspoken rule. Predictable chaos has no place in a mind that prizes precision, depth, and mystery. Number 6, they treat energy like ammunition. For Sigma males, energy isn't infinite. It's a resource to be guarded, measured, and deployed with precision. Every interaction, every conversation, and every emotional exchange comes with a cost. They've learned that most people squander it on trivialities, gossip, petty complaints, emotional manipulation, or shallow flattery. To a Sigma, engaging without purpose is the equivalent of firing rounds into the wind, wasted effort that leaves you exposed and drained. This is why ignoring has become second nature. It's not a lack of interest or apathy, it's strategy. Each interaction is carefully weighed. Who deserves attention? Who contributes to growth, understanding, or influence? Who is just a drain on mental reserves? Sigma males respond only when the return on investment justifies the expenditure of energy. Everyone else is met with silence, a subtle but powerful way of conserving their ammunition for what truly matters. The analogy to a sniper is perfect. A sniper doesn't fire indiscriminately. Every shot is deliberate, calculated, and impactful. Similarly, Sigmas deploy their energy selectively. A wasted response, a forced smile, or unnecessary engagement is not just inefficient, it's dangerous to their mental economy. By ignoring, they maintain control over their internal reserves, ensuring that their focus, creativity, and emotional strength remain intact. Ignoring isn't cruelty, it's efficiency. It's a declaration that their energy is valuable and cannot be gambled away on inconsequential interactions. Those who try to force themselves into the Sigma's orbit quickly learn that presence alone doesn't guarantee attention. Only those who prove worthy, intellectually, emotionally, or strategically, earn it. In essence, Sigma males live by a simple rule. Energy is ammunition, attention is currency, and silence is a weapon. Wasting either is unacceptable. By ignoring what doesn't matter, they preserve their force for what truly does, moving through the world like a precise, unshakable entity who never fires unless victory is certain. Number 7, they don't believe in social debt. Sigma males operate outside the invisible contracts that most people blindly follow. Society is built on expectations: return a call, reply promptly to messages, maintain acquaintances, nod politely to favors, and keep relationships ticking like clockwork. To the average person, failing to meet these obligations creates tension or guilt. To a Sigma male, it's irrelevant. They don't see themselves as beholden to anyone simply for existing in the same social ecosystem. This isn't arrogance or selfishness. It's a deliberate rejection of a transactional world. Most social interactions carry unspoken debts: a compliment in exchange for a favor, a conversation in exchange for attention, a presence in exchange for validation. Sigma males recognize this dynamic and refuse to participate. They don't owe anyone emotional currency, mental bandwidth, or responses that don't serve a purpose. If a person's presence doesn't challenge them, elevate them, or bring balance to their life, it is treated as neutral or even wasteful. Silence becomes the natural response. By ignoring, they dismantle the notion that interaction is mandatory. They operate according to internal logic, not social expectation. Calls, messages, and invitations are only acknowledged when engagement is genuinely valuable or desired. Everything else is simply noise, and noise is ignored. This selective engagement protects their energy, preserves autonomy, and reinforces the principle that their attention is a privilege, not an obligation. It's a subtle but powerful stance. Those accustomed to social debt may feel hurt, confused, or even offended, but to a Sigma, those reactions are inconsequential. They're not seeking to punish or alienate, they're simply asserting independence. By rejecting the transactional economy of society, Sigma males maintain control over their mental and emotional resources, demonstrating that true connection can't be forced. It must be earned. Their silence is a boundary, a filter, and a declaration. Presence alone does not entitle anyone to their attention. Number 8, they read between words, not just hear them. Sigma males have a sixth sense for the unspoken. While most people listen only to words, Sigmas pay attention to the spaces between them, the tone, the hesitation, the subtle cues that reveal intention. They can detect insecurity, hidden agendas, manipulation, and emotional undercurrents that would escape anyone else. A simple sentence can be a map to a person's true motives, and Sigma males read it effortlessly, almost instinctively. Once they perceive deceit or emotional manipulation, the dynamic shifts instantly. There's no confrontation, no call-out, no dramatic showdown. Engaging would be pointless. Sigma males have little patience for performing for others or correcting misperceptions. Instead, they choose the far more powerful response: disappearance. Mentally, emotionally, and sometimes physically, they remove themselves from the situation entirely. By doing this, they maintain their clarity, protect their energy, and refuse to give attention to anything that undermines their mental equilibrium. This ability is both subtle and brutal. Those attempting to manipulate or control them often don't realize what's happening until the Sigma has already disengaged. In their silence, the Sigma enforces boundaries without a word, creating a space where only authenticity can survive. It's a quiet dominance, one that commands respect without demanding it. For Sigma males, engagement is earned, not assumed. They navigate social interactions like a chess master. Every word, pause, and glance is a piece on the board, revealing intentions and vulnerabilities. If someone fails the test, knowingly or not, they are muted in the Sigma's world. Ignoring becomes a tool of self-preservation, strategy, and subtle power. In the realm of reading between words, silence is not absence, it is authority. Number 9, they know silence humiliates ego better than argument. Sigma males understand a truth most people overlook. Ego cannot withstand absence. You can argue, shout, or correct a self-centered person endlessly, and often they will twist your words to maintain their sense of superiority. Debate only fuels them, giving them a stage to perform on and an audience for their inflated self-image. But silence is devastating. It removes the spotlight, denies validation, and forces the ego to confront its own irrelevance without a single word from the Sigma. They use this knowledge strategically. When someone acts entitled, narcissistic, or manipulative, the Sigma doesn't react in the way society expects. They don't engage in petty fights, explanations, or emotional wrestling. Instead, they withdraw, letting the person's need for recognition collapse under its own weight. Being ignored strips self-importance bare. It exposes the hollow foundation of someone who built their identity on attention, approval, and reaction from others. This is not cruelty. It's precision. Sigma males know that by refusing to participate in the ego games others play, they are quietly dismantling illusions. Every ignored call, message, or confrontation is a mirror held up to the person's self-centeredness, reflecting how little their perceived importance actually matters. The humiliation is subtle, yet profound. The world continues moving, conversations proceed, events unfold, and yet their attempts to assert control or demand attention fail entirely. For the Sigma, silence is a weapon, a tool of psychological influence more effective than confrontation. It does not provoke defensiveness because it requires no engagement. It simply demonstrates irrelevance. In a society addicted to reaction, being ignored is a punishment that cannot be argued with, bargained over, or shouted down. It quietly asserts power, sets boundaries, and teaches a lesson most egos will never forget. In the world of Sigma males, absence is authority, and silence is the language that humbles the self-absorbed more effectively than any battle of words ever could. Number 10, they've seen the ugly side of connection. Sigma males understand something that most people never see until it's too late. Most so-called connections aren't really connections at all. People rarely approach relationships with authenticity or mutual respect. Instead, they seek control, validation, or distraction. A smile, a conversation, or a friendly gesture often masks hidden motives, a need to manipulate, impress, or feed an ego. To the Sigma, this superficiality is suffocating. Over time, they've learned to spot the difference between real resonance and empty interaction. They've seen friends, partners, and acquaintances driven by self-interest, craving attention more than presence. They've experienced how people twist connection into a tool for influence or a ladder to climb. Every attempt at genuine engagement met with ulterior motives only reinforces the futility of participating in a world obsessed with appearances. This clarity changes everything. Sigma males no longer chase shallow interaction or meaningless social obligations. They ignore people whose energy doesn't align with their own, because engaging with them accomplishes nothing. Their attention is too valuable to waste on distraction, manipulation, or forced camaraderie. Instead, they seek authenticity, a rare unspoken resonance that cannot be faked or demanded. Ignoring, then, becomes a method of survival and self-preservation. It's a boundary that separates superficiality from substance. By withdrawing from hollow connections, they conserve their energy, protect their focus, and ensure that every engagement carries weight. They don't reject connection itself, they reject the misuse of it. For Sigma males, real connection is a currency, not a convenience. Every interaction must matter, uplift, or expand understanding. If it doesn't, it is filtered out silently, without drama and without explanation. This approach is often misunderstood as coldness, but in reality, it's a sophisticated form of discernment, choosing resonance over contact, depth over noise, and authenticity over societal expectation. Number 11. They're intimidated by mediocrity, not out of fear, but disgust. Sigma males have no patience for superficiality. Their minds operate at a level where depth, insight, and intentionality are non-negotiable, and mediocrity feels like a physical irritation. It's not arrogance or fear that drives them away from shallow thinking. It's instinctive disgust. Smallness, laziness, and complacency disrupt the mental and emotional ecosystem they meticulously maintain. When a Sigma encounters people content with surface-level living, conversations limited to trivialities, ambitions constrained by comfort, or moral and intellectual laziness, they instinctively detach. This detachment isn't a conscious decision, it's a reflex. Their brains recognize the energy drain immediately, and ignoring becomes the automatic solution. Engaging with mediocrity offers no challenge, no growth, and no resonance, making it a wasted investment in time and attention. This reaction also serves as an unspoken filter. By ignoring shallow or complacent individuals, Sigma males preserve space for people and experiences that elevate thought, sharpen perception, and fuel personal evolution. They don't need to explain their absence because mediocrity cannot comprehend the subtle boundaries that protect their focus. It's a quiet, uncompromising stance. Sigma males are drawn to depth and authenticity in all forms, ideas, people, and experiences, and anything less simply cannot breach their attention. Detachment in this sense is not rejection for its own sake. It's a survival mechanism, a natural consequence of operating at a higher frequency than those around them. In essence, mediocrity doesn't frighten a Sigma male, it repels them. Ignoring becomes the most efficient way to maintain mental clarity and emotional integrity. While others struggle to understand their absence, the Sigma simply continues, untouched and unshaken, moving through a world that often operates at a level far below their own. Their detachment is a filter, a safeguard, and a statement. Smallness is not tolerated, and presence is earned, never assumed. Number 12. They don't trust people who talk too much. For Sigma males, words are powerful, but only when used with intention. Excessive talking, rambling, or over-explaining is a glaring red flag. It often signals insecurity, hidden agendas, or attempts to manipulate perception. People who feel the need to fill silence with constant chatter reveal more about themselves than they intend. Sigma males notice this immediately. They've learned that truth is rarely spoken in excess. It hides in pauses, in tone, in subtle gestures, and in the spaces between sentences. Anyone who tries to overwhelm with words is often trying to obscure reality rather than reveal it. For a Sigma, conversation is not about volume, it's about clarity and substance. When someone fails to meet that standard, the Sigma disengages. Ignoring becomes the natural response to protect mental space and preserve energy. This isn't rudeness or avoidance for its own sake. It's a matter of instinct. Too much talk is a form of noise that clouds judgment, wastes attention, and distorts perception. By tuning out those who over-communicate, Sigma males maintain control over their mental ecosystem. They refuse to be drawn into unnecessary drama, manipulation, or meaningless chatter. There's also a subtle lesson embedded in this silence. People who rely on constant talking to assert presence or authority quickly discover that a Sigma male cannot be manipulated or impressed by volume. Their attention must be earned, their motives clear, and their words deliberate. Anything less is ignored, quietly and without confrontation. In essence, Sigma males trust actions and intent over speech. They read between lines, observe behavior, and filter out noise. Talking too much isn't just annoying to them, it's a marker of unreliability. Ignoring becomes both protection and statement. Presence must be intentional, truth must be evident, and the Sigma will never let empty words dictate their attention. Sigma males are often misunderstood, not because they are distant or unfeeling, but because they operate on a level that most people cannot comprehend. Every action, every silence, and every choice to disengage is intentional. Ignoring is not an act of cruelty, arrogance, or apathy. It is strategy, self-preservation, and mastery of one's own mental and emotional world. They move through life with precision, conserving energy, protecting clarity, and engaging only when interaction carries meaning. Their world is one where silence is louder than words, absence is stronger than presence, and detachment is a tool of evolution rather than a sign of disdain. They have learned to filter mediocrity, avoid chaos, and refuse the social debts that so many blindly carry. They recognize manipulation instantly, detect insecurity beneath layers of performance, and understand that true connection is rare, not guaranteed. Every decision to withdraw is deliberate, a way to protect the sanctity of their mind, preserve their energy, and assert control over their reality. This is the essence of the Sigma male, a being who values substance over spectacle, depth over noise, and autonomy over validation. To engage with them requires respect for their boundaries, recognition of their intellect, and alignment with their energy. To misunderstand them is to mistake precision for coldness and strategy for indifference. In a world addicted to reaction, their restraint is a form of power, their silence a statement, and their detachment a declaration of independence. If this breakdown of Sigma behavior resonated with you, gave you insight, or simply made you rethink the way you perceive people who operate differently, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the Sigma mind. Don't forget to like this video if you found it valuable. Share it with anyone who might need to understand Sigma energy, and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts or experiences. We love hearing your perspective. Dive deeper with us and join a community that values understanding, clarity, and the extraordinary ways some minds navigate the world.